We continue Be'ezus Hashem in the sugya of Shoivavim Kedusha Sapeh, the koyach of the mouth, the koyach of our words, koyach of our speech. And in the last few weeks we've been discussing how important it is for a person to realize the speech that comes out of his mouth. As we said last week, for Moshe Aaron Stern Zatzal is like a loaded bullet in a gun, that once it comes out it's too late. Those of us that are in Yonim of Daf Yomi, Nedarim, and even Nazir for that matter as well, we're very familiar with the idea that the speech, everything that we say, for those of you that are mabish holding in Daf Yomi, Nedarim, in Nazir right now, the whole sugya, the nafkamina, where you say one word this way, one word that way, makes all the difference. It can change worlds. And we have to realize that's what our speech is all about. By many Musa Sfarim and various other schools of thought, they consider when a person speaks Emes or speaking Sheker to be of the utmost importance for speech. In fact, one of the Hasidic courts that emphasized the attribute of speech in such an incredible way was the court of Rav Rafal of Barshid, where the Talmidim, the Hasidim, were always taught that when they would come in soaking wet from the outside, it was pouring outside, they were drenched, they walked into the Beis Medrash, they walked into the home, and somebody said to them, "Oh, is it raining?" They would answer, "A minute ago when I was outside it was raining. I don't know about now, I'm not outside, I don't know." That's ad gedei kach, how they talk, the koyach, the midah of Emes in regards to speech. I want to read to you a couple of Mamarei Chazal to understand just for a moment. Maybe we'll get to some practical examples of speech and when sometimes even maybe we're even allowed to lie in different things, but just to understand the basis. How choshev is speech in regards to the inyan of Emes and Sheker? So there's a Gemara in Sanhedrin Kuf Gimel, where the Gemara tells us there are 4 groups of people that are not zoicha to the Shechina. 4 groups of people not zoicha to the Shechina. Zuk the Gemara, one of them, I'm not going to go all through them now, you can look it up yourself, as Sanhedrin Kuf Gimel, Amud Aleph, one of them is a liar. When a person is a liar, Zuk the Gemara, he is not zoicha to the Shechina. The Orcha Sadiqim brings down in Shara Emes that when a person lies in this world, they don't even believe him when he says the truth. The Mishnah in Pirkei Avos that we're all familiar with, Perek Aleph Mishnah Yud Ches, the Mishnah says, Reb Shimon Gamliel Oime, Al Shloisha Dvorim Ha'olam Kayim. There are 3 things the world is Kayim. And one of them, as we know, is of course Emes. The Reishis Chachma brings in Shayyid Beis that lying, as we know, Be'etzem from the Gemara, but the Reishis Chachma says it very, very shav. He says that lying caused the churban of both the first Beis HaMikdash and the second Beis HaMikdash. Rabbi say we're dealing with an Issa, which has such ramifications that we don't even realize sometimes that we're speaking a Sheker, because we're so used to it, we become so accustomed to it. It becomes almost a habit to us. The Gemara in Tainis Tav Ches Amud Aleph says that when people speak the Emes, it brings the Shefa to the world. The Gemara in Shavuos, V'ruach Chachamim Noicha Emenu. It's a gewaldige Zah. Yaakov Avinu spoke the Emes, he was Zoicha to 12 Shvatim. The Chasima, the signature of the Rabbeinu Shalom is Emes. And the Orcha Sadiqim tells us if people start to speak the Emes, Mashiach will be coming here. So Rabbi says it's a very, very choshev azach. And on the other side of the coin, there's a Gemara in Sanhedrin, Sadi Beis Amud Aleph, that says, Kol ha'machlif b'diburoi ki'ilu oved avodah zara. Zuk the Gemara, when a person switches his words, ki'ilu oved avodah zara is the Gemara. The Gemara in Shabbos Kufya Testament base, like Harvi Shalayim and Avishosha Poskum and Anshe Amona. Rabbi say Chazal after Chazal after Chazal of what it is to speak the Emes and how terrible it is for a person to speak the Sheker. The Rambam in Hilchos Shavuos tells us that even when it comes to be machanach children, how careful we have to be. There's a famous Ritva in the beginning of Masechta Sukkah where the Ritva talks about the inyan of Daled Minim, how careful we have to be not to buy our children a lemon and a broomstick and say, here you go, Daled Minim. You have to machanach children, says the Rambam in Hilchos Shavuos, in the correct way. Famous Maisa, Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky Zatzal was once walking into a cheder. For whatever reason, he was giving a shmooze, chizuk, brochas, whatever. And he stops by the front door, the entrance of the cheder there. And he stops and he smiles. because he sees that they put the mezuzah all the way down. Because these are little kids in Cheder. They wanted to touch the mezuzah and kiss the mezuzah when they came in, which was a beautiful thing. And they put the mezuzah all the way down so that the little kids can touch the mezuzah on their way in, which is a beautiful thing that they wanted the kids to do that. So Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky stopped and he smiled. He said, that's wonderful, that's so beautiful, but it's sheker. Because that's not the halacha. And that's teaching a child sheker, that's wrong. Yeah, you teach them it's at the right height, and in a chanami they can touch close to it, that's good enough. You can teach them these sorts of things, but to teach them sheker in the wrong way, what the halacha is wrong, the mezuzah all the way down, that person is not yaitza. Person has to be careful in that case. I remember hearing from my mashkiach, from Noach Ulovik Shlita, a gavaldig yisoid. He said if you look at the letters of Emes and the letters of sheker, it's amazing. Right? It's a famous yisoid, but I remember first hearing this when I was a bacha from him. And he said, look at the letters of Emes. It's Aleph, Mem, Tov. So number one, each of the letters of Aleph, Mem, and Tov have two legs. They have a base. They can stand. Whereas the letters of Sheker, Shin, Kuf, Reish, are very shaky because it only has one leg. Anything on one leg is very shaky. Sheker is very shaky. It doesn't last. Emes has a base, has 2 feet, has a base, and therefore it can stand. Not only that, if you see the letters of Emes, it goes from the beginning of the Aleph base, it's got to the middle, and goes all the way to the end. Sheker is all squeezed in the middle. Because when something is Emes, when something is true, you find it again and again and again. When something is Sheker, it's concentrated in a small place. How careful a person has to be over here. We find the Issa that the Torah tells us, Midvar Sheker Tirchak. Just distance yourself. Where do we find by any other Issa? To distance ourselves. It says, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that. Over here we have a Zah, stay far away. That means this is something that we don't have by any other Issa. Stay far and far away. Rabbeinu Yonah tells us, amazing Rabbeinu Yonah in Shari Tshuva. He brings down, and I'm not going to go through it now, but he brings down the categories of lying that people do in their severity. And in fact, according to one man, the question that we're going to be asked after 120 years of living in this world is not necessarily only were you trustworthy in business, but were you trustworthy stam? Were you a person that's word is a word? How important that is. The Sefer Hasidim says that if a person speaks emes down in this world, then the Rabbeinu Shalom Zuk, the Sefer Hasidim, will listen to you in the next world. And we spoke about this all the way in the beginning. When we started the series, we mentioned that many Gedolim, and we asked the Kasha, how is it that Tzaddikim can say brachas, you'll have a baby, you'll get married, whatever it may be, and the Rabbeinu Shalom listens. We know there's no real makar for tzaddik goza, Kodesh Baruch Hu Mekayim. There's no actual makar for those words. We find many remozim to it, but not to those words. But where does it come from? It comes from the idea of emes. When a mouth is used by emes, when a mouth is used to say the right things and the emestika things, then the Rabbeinu Shalom listens to what you say because your words have more koyach. And we see from many Gedolim in that way, which we're not going to go into at this moment of time. Rabbi said it applies. Let's talk about a few practical nafkaminas halacha lemaisa. Lying and saying the truth applies both to speech and also to writing, whether you're writing a WhatsApp, an email, wherever it may be. It has to be done in the correct way. In fact, the Gemara in Shavuos, Lamed Aleph says even shaking your head in the wrong way could be a shaila in that case. Now, there are certain times that it is mutter to lie, which I'm not going to go into. The Gemara in Elam Metzias talks about 3 of them, different things, the Marsha, different Rishonim. We're not going to go on to all of the details, but sometimes it's mutter to lie in a situation where it's not really a lie. Now, I'll give you an example. Going to the airport, right? Could be the gate very soon, but as Hashem. We go to the airport and they say to you, did you pack your bags? Did you pack your bags? Right? Did anyone give you something? So the truth is, I don't really like taking packages for people, but one time somebody gave me a glasses case, whatever it is. Obviously I checked it in, to make sure it was glasses case stuck or whatever, there's no secret entrances or whatever. And they said to me in the airport, they said to me, did anyone give you a package? So I said, yes. They're like, what? Nobody ever says yes. So I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem, here, you can have a look at it. They're like all nervous, whatever it was. So I got out the glasses case, they opened it up, they saw it was good. So off you go, no problem, right? So I wanted to say the MS, I didn't want to say anything wrong, but Lemaisa, the person can say that in a situation where it's clear you know that what you got is 100% good, and that's not what they mean, and therefore it's okay. I'll give you another example. Let's say you're sending a package to someone, and you want to make sure that they don't mess around with it. They don't throw it anywhere or whatever it may be. So I'm going to write on the outside, glass, fragile, whatever. Am I allowed to do that, or is that considered to be that I'm lying? Again, I didn't say the words, I put a sticker on, right? But of course, lying is lying, right? So the answer is that will be mutter in that case, because that is not considered to be lying, because again, it accomplishes the same thing. Reb Shlomo Zalman discusses the shaila about people that come to your door, right? They knock on your door, they want to collect money, a mashalach, whatever it is, and you're busy. So Reb Shlomo Zalman, Rav Elyashiv said the same thing, Tuli, is that you're not mechuyev to answer every door for every single person. You're not mechuyev in that case. You can say, I'm not available right now, I can't see you. Even though you're eating supper with the kids, that's fine, because I am not available right now, and I simply cannot see you in that case. They discussed the shaila. Reb Shlomo Zalman discussed the shaila. He told his wife that when he was resting, so his wife would answer the door and say, you can't see my husband right now, he's preparing for share. What do you mean? She said to him, what do you mean preparing for share? You're having a rest. So yeah, that rest is preparation for the share. I need to have koichas. So anything that's included in that would be okay in that case over there. Let's move on, Rabbi Isai. There are many, actually the truth is there are many different shilas that come involved over here. So for example, let's say you know that someone's going to eat something and it's probably not a good hechsher. Right? And they're not, if you say to them, I don't know, I heard, maybe. If you say to them, I know it's treif, right? Even though you don't know mamish, but you want to stop them from doing an aveira, stopping someone from doing aveira is absolutely fine in no case. For example, somebody once asked me, his wife is a very slow person. It takes the time to do things. Now, you tell her that Shabbos comes in at 4 o'clock, say no, so until things get moving, and a person has to be careful. The Mishnah in Shabbos, how careful we have to be to say, have you lit the candles, adlokas haneh, whatever, in order to mazaris. But the point is that he asked me, is he allowed to tell her the time to be earlier? Because otherwise she's just not going to get in time for Shabbos and Shabbos Kodesh and Shkia and Shabbos, all these things. So I told him it's mutter. I asked Rabbi Zilobach Shlita, he told me 100% it's mutter to stop someone from being machal Shabbos. Avad you're allowed to tell them in such a case over there. So the same thing with many different situations. To stop someone from doing an issa, to prevent them from doing something that's also is okay in many situations. Many situations of Dauki Shalom, to protect Shalom between Ish ve'ishtoi, or anyone for that matter, to save that situation could be okay. Or embarrassment. Let's say, for example, one of the boys goes for a shidduch tonight. He doesn't want everyone to know about it. So you come back, for some reason he's clean shaven, he's got his nice suit, his tie. Like 1 second, I never saw you like that. No, my uncle came from he came from whatever, he came from Boca, and it's very important to go out and be respectful, whatever it is. You went on a shidduch. What happened to lying? There are cases that, of course, we can be makel in that case. Lying about your name, about your age, which is a very negay shaila when it comes to shidduchim. Right? Older people want to lie about their age when it comes to shidduchim. So Rav Elyashiv said that if you're 20 years old and you don't want to say 20, you want to say 19, that case there's a mokum to be makel, because Be'etzem is 19 years, whatever. There is a mokum, but of course, to lie about things doesn't help, because eventually you get caught, and it doesn't work in that case. So Rabbi said we have to remember that our speech is of the utmost importance. Everything we say is recorded. Everything we say comes off of the total amount of words that we get in this world. Do we want to use those words to say Emes or to say sheker? Even though sometimes we don't even think that it's sheker, it's okay, it's probably okay. We have to learn to speak Emes. Titein Emes li Yaakov. Yaakov Avinu's midah was the midah of Emes. The Heilige Chofetz Chaim, Schossen Yugen Alayni. There was who was greater than the Heilige Chofetz Chaim. You open up a Mishnah Berurah, you open up a Shmiras Haloshen, you see the bekiyas that he had in Shas, Rishonim, Achroinim, Poiskim, unbelievable, right? When he applied for a passport, true Maisa, when he applied for a passport, he had to give a title. And the people around him said, Rabbi. You saw me? They wanted a rabbi. Who was greater to call, who had the right to call themselves a rabbi but the Chofetz Chaim? But the Chofetz Chaim, who at that stage had written the Mishnah Berurah, which was accepted in all of Klal Yisrael, had never got smicha. So he said, if I don't have smicha, how can I call myself a rabbi? So I refused, says the Chofetz Chaim, to write the word rabbi on my passport application, even though, come on, Rabban Shekol HaGoyla, the Heilige Chofetz Chaim, I think we all agree over here that we can call him a rabbi, right? Even without smicha, it's fine. You don't need a piece of paper. So what did he do? He sent a telegram to Reb Chaim Oizer Grodzinski in Vilna, and he sent this thing. He said, Rabbi, I need a smicha in order to apply for a passport. Chaim Oizer sent him smicha on the spot. He got smicha on the spot, the quickest smicha. Amazing, he didn't need to get it for hair. He got a smicha, and only then did he decide to call himself a rabbi in that case, because how sensitive he was to realize to someone else's things. Another story, Rabbi Isai, is Rav Eli Lopian was going a gadol, a mashkiach, unbelievable yid. We know that right before Shemona Esra on Rosh Hashanah, there's a tefillah for the Baal tefillah to say the daven hineni. Right, there's a whole tefillah. I'm standing here and I'm petrified and I'm terrified. So he actually skipped some of the words because he said, what right do I have? He was a Baal tefillah for many, many years. What right do I have? I'm not sitting here terrified. I'm not petrified. I can't do such a thing. Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, when he was 70, I think, when he was 70 years old, put on Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. And his grandchildren said to him, Zaida, what are you doing? You're not Hasidish. It's not really the minig of our family to put on Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. What's the pshat? So he said, my dear Einikal, I'll tell you pshat. When I was way younger, maybe 30, whatever it was, someone came to me with a whole taina, Rabbeinu Tam, Rabbeinu Tam. And he pushed them off and pushed them. I couldn't get rid of them. So I said, when I get 70, I'll put on Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. The day of his 70th birthday, versteht sich the Hebrew birthday, the Yiddish birthday, he decided to put on Rabbeinu Tam because that's what he said, right? He didn't eat gebrachts. Now again, the Ashkenazim generally, right, the minig in most places in Ashkenaz is yet to eat gebrachs. The minig Hasidim was not to eat gebrachs. Rabbi Yaakov didn't eat gebrachs, and they asked him, what's pshat? It's not your minig, it's not our minig. What's the problem with eating gebrachs? Our minig is to eat it. Why do you not eat it? So he said, very simple. I was once in somebody's house, and this is, by the way, in a ger loch if you get to somebody's house and they offer you something and you know that, I don't know if we could trust the Hersha, so you could say that my Rosh Yeshiva doesn't allow me to eat anything that's not in a certain thing, and if you can blame it on me, no problem whatsoever. So Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky said to this person when he was there for Pesach, he said, I'm so sorry, but I have a minig that I don't eat gebrachs, and therefore, I can't eat this, because he wanted to get out of eating it, right? Now he had no minig, but he decided to makabel on himself for the rest of his life, because the words came out of his mouth. And we'll finish with one last story, Rabbi Isai, which I heard from Rabbi Yehuda Gerelik Shlita, who heard from the daughter of the Heilige Chofetz Chaim. True Meiser, Rabbi Isai. Said the story before. The daughter of the Chofetz Chaim said over the story that when her father used to print his Sfarim in the Mishnah Berurah, he was very makbid to go through each sefer to make sure that it was whole, there was no misprints, there was no pages stuck together, because he's not selling something that's not a dover sholem, that's not right to be sold. So he would go through every single page of every single sefer before he sold it. It was a huge task. Now he would get his kids to sometimes help out. So he said to his daughter, my dear, whatever her name was, could you do me a favor, could you help me out, and could you please check some sforim for me? So she said, Tati, I'm going to the park right now with my friend. She was a little kid. Could you, when I get back, I'd really, really like you to check some sforim right now. It would really help me. I've got a big pile. She said, Tati, I'm just going to the park. Mitzvah Shem, I'll get back. Not so long. And she said, please, I'll ask you one more time. Please help me out. I really need to check this sforim now. She says, Tati, when I come back, I'll do 100 sforim. She came back an hour later, there were 100 svarim on the desk, ready for her to go along and check. Now the Chofetz Chaim did not mean it chas v'sholem in a way that was bad. But by him, if you said something, then obviously you're going to keep to your word. Because our word is exactly who we are. Rabbi Yisrael Mitzvah Hashem, next week we shall continue.